Hey, it is Big Guy DIY Robert. So while I was installing one accessory, I thought this would be a perfect time to change the gear oil. This is a 2012 Renegade with a 600 E-Tech. The instructions for this are the same for, say, a 2012 GSX with an 800 E-Tech. I don't know when they stopped doing drain plugs on the gear case, but I know with the brand new sleds, there is now a drain plug. But if you want to change your gear case oil and you want to know how to do it, let me show you a little insight to this and what's involved. First thing you have to do is you got to remove your muffler. Again, this is the 600 E-Tech. So you got a spring down here, a spring over here, and two springs up there. If you don't have a spring puller tool, what I use are a very long handle needle nose pliers. So I use brute strength. So remove the exhaust. Next, you have to remove your battery. After you remove your battery, you have to remove the battery holder. So I'm going to do that next and then turn this camera back on. There is a plug on the side here. This is what they call for your filling up, so you don't go too much in here. You pull this out, and as you fill this gear case up, when it starts leaking out of here, then you're supposed to put that back in. But if you just purchase 12-inch fluid ounce, that's what it holds, 12 fluid ounces. So you don't need to pull that plug out. That's the only reason you pull that out is if you want to get the metal bits off the end of it. But you'll be able to see that once you take the gear case cover off. So let me remove the gear case cover now. Alright, you see the oil just drips down. The hole. Tension on a chain is good. It's nice and snug. If it needed adjustment, because I did this on my 2012, what you do is, there's a nut down here. Seven something, I forgot what it is. But you loosen that nut, and then this here, you can't turn by hand. You got to get like a screwdriver and push against this plastic piece here. So we can get a better angle for you. This plastic piece here turns and allows you to tighten or loosen this rod, which is for your chain tension. It's not, I've heard people say, oh, you just hand tighten it. No, it doesn't work that easy. It's never that easy. So, this is how you change gear case oil. The square plug that's on the side here takes a 3/16 wrench. Let me double check. 5/16. So it's not metric. And this one comes off not too bad. I've had the other sled, it was very difficult. It was It's only a square plug. It's not a 6-point or an 8-point or something like that. So that's your plug with your magnet on the tip. So like I said, you can, I wouldn't leave this out when you refill this. I did that, and that was stupid. It just spills more oil when it comes out. It spills more oil down again. So, you know, it takes 12 fluid ounces. It takes 12 fluid ounces. You don't need that to tell you that. Now, they say you're supposed to change your gear oil every year. I argue that one. I think it comes down to how many miles you're really putting on your sled. If you're putting on, say, 300 to 600 miles in one season, that's it, I wouldn't change it in the following year. Not unless you find yourself going through a lot of water crossings. So there might be a little fear of getting water inside here, but like I said, this is sealed up. So as you can see here, it's a rubber gasket. So when you put this back on, I would not do your bolts extremely tight. Do them really, really snug, but not extremely tight. Because one, you don't want to strip your threads, because that's aluminum. And two, this is rubber. It'll seal up with with a little pressure, not with a lot of pressure. So this is pretty clean. Just getting out some of the oil out of here. All right, back together she goes. All the bolts are the same length. My advice, when you put these in, put them in hand, turn them in by hand first. Don't use a power tool, because if you cross thread this, you just screwed yourself. When I redid mine on my other sled, I found one, and it was the first time for me to open up this gear case, and I found shavings, metal shavings coming out of the thread, and it looks like it was cross threaded, so I worked it and got the thread straight again. But yeah, when you're screwing metal into aluminum, do it by hand first and then tighten it by hand. On the bottom here, there are two holes that are right next to each other. Look carefully when you're putting your bolt back in. It's just this one corner. The two holes look identical, but only one takes the bolt. As you tighten them, cross. So I'm going straight across. I'm going to go up and do these two. And the top. And the bottom two. Next, fill your case up. Reattach your cap. This is just a vent pipe. Just be sure it's aiming up. There is a lip on here, so you want to make sure your cover goes with inside that lip. Replug your gear case wiring. And then reinstall your battery housing. So that's how you change your fluid in your gearbox of a 2014 Skidoo Renegade with a 600 E-Tech. Like I said, a lot of the E-Techs now, I don't know when it started. The Skidoo stopped putting a plug on the bottom to drain the gear case, but that's what's involved now. So if a shop says it takes 2 hours to do, it's going to take 2 hours to do. Don't be surprised if the bill's like $200 to do it too, because you know, hourly rate, not including the oil. I mean, the oil's cheap. It's the time that really eats up your paycheck. So, Big Guy DIY Robert signing off. Enjoy doing your gear case. One thing I forgot to mention, when you're changing your gear case, if you're going to try a different method to do it, this is a fluid extractor used for removing fluids from basically anything. It oils. not used for gas. Do not use it for gas, because under pressure this will explode. Been there, done that. But for oil, this will not work if you think you can do your gear case. I've tried it already. When you remove the rubber plug to fill your gear case in, the gear case is so close to your gears that you can't get this hose in between the gear case cover and the gears. If you try to do it through the oil fill plug level that's on the bottom left there, the angle it goes in, it cannot make a 90-degree angle, because as the lower gear comes around, it's only about, I think, quarter inch, half inch between that plug, magnetic plug, and the gear. So if you think you're going to use an oil extractor, it's not going to work. You got to take the cover off. Sorry to say.